This is CRM Audio, the Microsoft Dynamics CRM podcast, with George Dubinsky, Joel Lindstrom, and Shawn, the CRM Hobbit Tabor.
Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, wherever you are, and welcome to the 5th episode of CRM Audio.
Are you traveling this week, George? Into any far-off locales?
Yes, it's hot in Singapore. Nearly done my teaching in Singapore. We've been doing USD.
Oh, very nice.
Out of all things, mixing it up with virtual deliveries of advanced development in CRM, so it's all been about teaching.
So, George, is this is a training class or something? What are you doing there?
Yes. Yeah, this is instructor-led training, and the advanced one is virtual instructor-led training. So,
and you are you're a certified trainer, right?
So they say.
So the paper on the wall seems to indicate. Yeah.
Yes. It's a great program. It's partner readiness program. As a group of people, some of you may know. It's been in development for three years. This program, so it's constantly improving. There's a bunch of dedicated trainers developing content, delivering it, and sort of.
What do you recommend other people going to Singapore get to eat?
Oh, you get down, stay away from all the upmarket places, and you get down to the to one of the food markets, and you just have what locals
street
eat.
Food? Like street food?
Well, this particular week there's a fortnight of it's food festival. So there is a lot of street food, but generally speaking, like open markets, it's stalls. It's not kind of,
cool.
It is street food, yeah.
Very cool.
But my favorite, my breakfast, we tend to eat like locals when we travel with the family. So my favorite breakfast is a nasi lemak, which is a spicy fish on top of the fragrant rice in the banana leaf. Plus kopio, which is black coffee, which looks like oil, like black oil. It's thick and very, very tasty and gives you a kick. And the whole breakfast is like, what is it, $2.70 or something like this. It's ridiculous.
That's interesting to know that my daughter makes kopio. So I don't think she did it on purpose, but she can't make coffee worth the darn.
Do you know what the motto of Singapore is?
We're watching you.
Mayula Singapura, which is Malaysian for onward Singapore.
Police and local magistrates at Singapore, since you're listening, thank you for taking good care of our comrade, and enjoy your day.
Even though he does look like a Bond villain.
Exactly. That's the best kind of guy.
Hey, look, don't spoil it. I'm one of the tallest in the city, okay? So
he's a giant.
That's right.
Now that was another funny story when I was flying to Denmark, and in case you didn't know, Danish are one of the tallest people in the world. And I was flying through Hong Kong. So I land in Hong Kong, and I had like few hours to kill. And I'm walking around, and I'm posting and say, hey, look, I'm the tallest one here. And then 9 hours later, I land in Denmark, and I step out, and I'm the shortest one. And and that includes women. It's amazing. You travel around 18 hours, like you travel 9 hours, you're the tallest. You travel another 9 hours, and you are the shortest. So it was actually quite a cool experience. But Shawn, you are relaxing.
I'm getting ready to, yes, sir. Today, after a mad marathon of nothing but SSIS work. Today, I will be getting ready to get on a plane with my daughter and heading to D.C. and Boston. We're going to D.C. this weekend.
Nice.
I'm doing everything I can not to let the OCD kick in. I'm trying to organize the trip, and my daughter is not letting me. She wants to be spontaneous.
So she doesn't want a tour of comic book stores, you're saying?
Well, that's going to happen regardless, but no, she doesn't. She tried vetoing Air and Space Museum. I'm like, oh yeah, that's not happening.
Look, I thought that was one of the best museums ever.
The first stop she wants to make, and I'm all for going to this museum, but literally she wants to get off the plane, go to the hotel, put her bags away, freshen up, and then go directly to this museum. She wants to go straight to the Holocaust Museum. I'm all for going to the Holocaust Museum because I think it's really informative, and it's probably going to be a really cool, museum to go to. But the very first thing, I'm hoping that I'm just not just so catatonically depressed, the rest of the day that I can't do anything else. But that's what we're doing. And then I think we're going to American history to see the ruby slippers. That's cool. That's the big plan.
Nice.
I love that the Air and Space Museum still has the 1980s era flight simulator.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's going to be a blast. And then when we go to Boston, we're going to go to 3 or 4 Red Sox games. So we're both big Red Sox fans. So I'm very antsy to end this day. Pretty much.
All right.
One day I'll do a sports tour of America. It's like I go to Boston to see Sox. Someone will probably organize tickets. Then I hope to hit Colorado, where friends of ours have courtside tickets for the basketball games and things like that.
It's a good time.
You're all welcome to come to Australia, where you can learn about Australian football, where the men in tight shorts, running around the field.
Get bitten by a large snake and die.
Exactly.
Pretty much, yeah. Anyway, Joel, what you've been up to?
Oh, not a lot. CRM, of course.
And that brings us to the news.
Yeah, get your mind off vacation, Shawn. You're a serious newsman.
I am locked in and ready to go. I'm excited for this news. So our first story is coming up this week and I'm personally excited for this. We're getting ready for the Windows 10 release. A lot of cool stuff coming from that. We're talking about the Edge browser, no more Silverlight, which if I'm not mistaken, I believe you guys published a tip on that. And also we're looking at there's going to be with that Edge browser, there's going to be a better experience for tablets. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm interested to see how well that's going to work with for Dynamics CRM. I haven't gotten a chance to play with CRM on a Windows 10 device. So, but I have seen the Edge browser. I think it looks pretty cool. I like some of the things they're doing with that, especially a callback to episode 1 with the integration to OneNote that's more prevalent there. And I'm really looking forward to Cortana. I'm really looking forward to, on my Surface Pro, being able to access Cortana features like I have seen others do it on their Windows Phone. So I'm looking forward to that. That should be really cool.
Yeah, it's kind of a first for me in some ways. This is the first version of Windows since really 98 that I haven't played with before pre-release. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if it's getting older, not having as much time, or just not finding reinstalling everything on my computer to be fun anymore. But, I Windows XP, Windows Vista, Windows 7, Windows 8, I got really excited about. Thought they were the greatest thing ever, and then the reality sunk in, or some of them were truly good. Digging up drivers and all that stuff. I do think it's a good thing, and I'm going to wait for Surface 4 and when I can get a Surface that natively was built for Windows 10, I think I'm going to go for that one. I had the original Surface. I sold it, I think, when the Surface 3 came out, while I still could get some of my money back. I like Surface 3, but being kind of on the border here, I didn't want to do that. But I do think big kudos to the CRM team. This is the first time with a new browser version and a new OS where they have really been out in front of it. And this is very refreshing to see, because even like Windows 8 and IE 11 and all that, it was well after what was officially supported.
Right, and which always is great to have those kind of issues when you're talking with clients and they're really excited about the new news that they're hearing about the OS and web browser changes, and you have to talk them down. So not having to worry about that, I agree, it's fantastic.
So 2 questions. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but the talk that I had heard is that in the enterprise versions of Windows 10, that Internet Explorer was still going to be there and available for enterprises that were standardized on it. Is that still the case?
I heard that you can load up Internet Explorer 11 if you need it. It's like behind the scenes, and it either waits for a web browser a website that needs it, or you can ask Cortana to bring it up.
Okay.
So yeah, it's still there.
So
from what I've seen.
You can't do it yourself. You have to ask Cortana to.
No. If you're in the Edge browser, for example, and let's say you go to ESPN.com, and they require IE 11. It doesn't work on Edge. What I'm understanding, and I have not done the technical preview, so I don't know this for certain. I'm sure we'll get some comments on the Facebook page and on the website. But from what I understand, Windows 10 will automatically call up IE 11 to present that page to you.
Okay.
So that kind of makes sense, because Silverlight applications, including those inside CRM, they're not going away tomorrow. It will take time for people to re-engineer and rewrite them.
I was thinking we should have a giveaway on the show. I've got the Silverlight plus CRM book by David Yak. I think that would be a great giveaway for a contest or something.
And you know what? I have it as well. So if you want to give away 2, we can do that.
Is yours autographed?
Well, okay, no, I'm not fancy. I bought mine on Amazon.
Also, my wife is wanting to upgrade my wardrobe, so I've got probably 20 Microsoft polo shirts that she wants me to get rid of from years and years ago. So maybe we could come up with a nice goodie box.
And Joel, just for a frame of reference, there's a lot more people than your wife that want you to upgrade your wardrobe.
Okay, so the next question here.
Yes.
Okay, the companies out there, and we all know them. I work with some this week that have enterprise, maybe homegrown applications that require them to use an old version of Internet Explorer. Is this going to be enough to push them to finally get something more modern or get rid of those things that are holding them back?
From an enterprise space, my experience is they're generally not bleeding edge. I would not see widespread adoption of Windows 10 in the enterprise for probably a year. Just because of what you're saying, native apps that have requirements for lower hardware spec, for lower IE, because you have to remember, with an enterprise, it's not as simple as just getting new hardware and plugging it into the users. You have all the homegrown apps, you have all the testing cycles, you have all the support areas, you have all the training areas that have to be brought up to speed. So really what it comes down to is, what was their initial investment in cloud technologies, I think, because the more investment they have in cloud, the less they're dependent on homegrown our older technology apps, the more nimble they can be in those kind of new hardware and software investments. But I think Windows 10 will be well received by enterprises, especially smaller ones. But I don't see it being big, widespread for a year. Now, that being said, with Windows XP being really shut down, I can see more people that chose not to go to Windows 8 jumping over and making that the next choice.
Sure. Yeah, you got some pent-up demand. Okay, my next question is, and a little background. IE deservedly got a black eye, partly because of its success. IE6 was very successful. Windows XP was very successful. They were not standardized in things like web browser technology as much as they are now, and so they, you had a lock-in that happened, and that benefited Microsoft, but ultimately I think hurt them. And tying the browser to the OS and allowing things like group policy to lock it down, in my opinion, are one of the things that give people a bad opinion of Internet Explorer. I just had the same experience where you go to a customer, they've got all these problems when they try and use CRM and IE, but hey, I've also got Chrome or Firefox on here. I pull them there, it's fast, it works great, and it's not IE's fault, it's because your IT locks down IE, locks down the settings with group policy and other methods, and as a result, it slows it down or creates errors where. But then, for some crazy reason, they also allow their users to install third-party browsers that are not locked down, and of course, those work better. So, I'm curious how Edge is going to handle that, or is it still going to be the corporate secure option? Because my concern is, Microsoft is still going to be at a disadvantage from being on a later release, being as fast, as nimble as Chrome, Firefox, etc.
But I'm a bit confused. I haven't worked for enterprise for years and years. Let me get this straight. So system administrators go to great lengths of efforts to secure Internet Explorer. At the same time, they allow people to install Chrome and Firefox.
Yes, I can point to multiple companies, and here's where it comes in. A large insurance company I just worked on an upgrade for was this way, and the reason is because of this lock-in for enterprise applications where they've got some old application that requires them to use IE8, but they've got other applications or websites their employees need to use that need a more modern browser. So they have to come up with this compromise where, use IE when you need to use the payroll system, but if you need to use this other stuff, you can use Chrome, which creates this dichotomy that's just crazy to me and gives Microsoft's browser experience a bad rap, because it's not that if you took a 4-year-old version of Chrome, if there was one 4 years ago, and compared it with the modern version of IE, the same thing would be true. It would be IE would be faster. But that's what I'm seeing. I'm just wondering how they're going to do that. My take is I think they're going to force people to upgrade the browser more frequently to stay competitive with Chrome.
To me, most of the enterprise battles are lost before they even begin. I mean, I had this conversation with one of the customers who said, I want to know or to secure our environment so that people cannot go to the Facebook and the likes. And I'm saying, what is your concern? And he said, well, my concern is people browsing, Facebook, Twitter, at my expense. So when they should be working. So I said, look, let's assume for a second that you block it all successfully. Though it's difficult, but let's assume you've done that. What would stop anyone? And in Australia, we are one of the 5 or 6 countries in the world who's got more mobile connections than we have population. So it's like more than one mobile connection per capita. Mm-hmm. What would stop those people from firing up their phone and going to the same Facebook or Twitter just on their phone? So if your concern is wasted time, they're still going to waste it. But if you block them, they're going to take pleasure in wasting your time. So, and I convince them not to waste it. And instead of that, monitor their habits. And if someone is abusing it, clearly, then approach them and make sure that they do their work. That's the way people work. You have Twitter in background, you've got these, you switch to Facebook from time to time, someone messages you, you're multitasking. So blocking it, unless you work in the Department of Defense, blocking all the social networks is a ridiculous move from my point of view. You're not achieving anything.
In my experience, the guy who is so interested in locking down everything for his employees, he's probably playing Farmville all day.
Mm-hmm. And a quote from Microsoft has specifically said on this topic, large organizations are likely to have a broad portfolio of web-based apps, and Internet Explorer 11 offers the security, performance, backward compatibility, and modern standards support that complex web app portfolios need. This is why we will continue to make it easy for the enterprise customers to make Internet Explorer 11 their default browser through group policy. So
shall we move on to some other news?
Next story.
Yes. Yeah, so the next story, the new phone app's out.
Yay!
And it's out for iOS. It's out for Android. What platform did I not mention?
BlackBerry.
Okay. What other platform did I not mention?
Windows Phone, yes. And there's a lot of change happening here, and it's kind of bittersweet for me. I was the guy for 4.5 years. I had a Windows Phone 7. I had a Windows Phone 8. I also had a Windows Mobile, one of those keyboard things, before that. So, I have been on the Microsoft mobile bandwagon, and when Windows Phone 7 and Windows Phone 8 came out, they did initially have some pretty unique features. I found the UI of them and the tiles to be much more personal, and I did like that. I find iOS and Android more cold by comparison, just basically lists of tiles. But reality is sinking in, and when Microsoft, for its own apps, is releasing them well ahead on other platforms, not just CRM, but take the Office apps. They've been out for months and months on iOS and now Android, and not yet on Windows Phone. So as a dyed-in-the-wool Windows Phone guy who tried to convince everybody that it was better, the writing is on the wall. And the good news, though, the solace I take, is that you now can get a first-class Microsoft experience on these other platforms. Sunrise Calendar, Outlook, the OneDrive app, the OneNote app, all the Office apps on iOS as well as Android are top-notch. And that is definitely a welcome change in that, and I think as a platform company, a better approach, because that goes back to where Microsoft came from, a software company that puts out software and gives you the best experience. You can really run your life through Microsoft on your Android or your iOS phone. But I think we should have a moment of silence for Windows Phone. Okay.
There you go. Yeah, I had my Windows Phone experience when the Surface came out. I had this grand plan. I was going to get the Surface. I was going to get a Windows Phone. I was going to leave my iPhone. I was going to move away, and it was all starting to come together. I got the Surface. I had Windows 8 on my desktop PC. It was going to be seamless throughout. I was going to do the whole thing. Then I started looking at the marketplace on the Windows Phone, and the apps were just, no one was programming for Windows Phone. So all the apps that I used on my iPhone, the majority of them weren't there. If they were there, they were kind of not a real port. It was more of a kludge that someone put together to get it to work. You know what I mean? So that's one of the things that I'm hoping with Windows 10 that we start to see a better investment in the Windows marketplace and see some innovation there. I know things like one of the big things they're talking about for Windows 10 is from a gaming perspective, that there's going to be a Minecraft for Windows 10. So doing things like that, I'm hoping we see more of those kind of things to make that Windows 10 experience. And then like you're saying, the mobile experience for other devices where you can get that seamless integration all over. That's going to be pretty exciting.
I think we should also have a moment of silence for Mobile Express.
Do we really need one? I never liked Mobile Express.
Well, and I dug up the blog post written on February 16th, 2009 on the CRM team blog announcing the preview of Mobile Express for CRM version 4. And I forgot, but actually back then you had to install a Mobile Express server. And it was it was big news because it was like the CRM going mobile. But even then, I mean, you look at the date on this, 2009. The iPhone came out in 2007. It was already behind the 8 ball when it came out because it was really developed for BlackBerry era browsers. But that was, I mean, for business, even in 2009, really before the Apple App Store picked up steam and everything. That was still, I mean, back then, I remember at Customer Effective, people were like begging, can we please get BlackBerries? Can we please get BlackBerries? That was the cutting edge then.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I had a couple of BlackBerry devices. I mean, for when all you did on your phone was email and calendaring and some notes, that was, way to go.
I think on 24 they used BlackBerries and then they switched to no brand smartphone.
They were sponsored by Samsung one season too. So
that's right.
Yeah.
But you know what? In all the movies, a majority of the movies, you see people using Motorola style, the flip out phones. And I couldn't understand why. And then it actually occurred to me that when you have a movie and you have a phone that's a flip out phone, you can see clearly, even if you put your movie on mute, and even then you can see when person starts conversation and when the person ends conversation. Unlike with the smartphone, it's like they zoom in and the big finger pushing the red button to end the call.
Yeah.
Well, and George, when you're an international supervillain, you use burner phones, and you're going to use a burner feature phone. You're not going to use a fancy iPhone, whatever, because you're going to throw it away. Also, you just can't dramatically hang up on somebody with a touchscreen smartphone. What do you do? Like dramatically touch the screen? No, you need to have something you can dramatically shut the phone or something.
That was good. Slamming the phone down. That was good with the dials.
Oh yeah.
With the smartphone, you throw it against the wall. And it smashes into 1,000 pieces.
I could tell by the way you touched the hang up button that you're really mad at me.
That's right.
All right, what's our third story?
Today's a big day. Today is the official release date for Power BI. I'm pretty excited about that. This is really going to open up a lot of opportunities for our customers.
Hold on. Let me clarify that.
Shoot.
For people who perhaps not familiar with Power BI, because there used to be a Power BI for a long time. It's been called Power BI for Office 365.
Preview.
And no. Power BI for Office 365 been around for a long time. I wouldn't say for how long, but it's like a year at least, if it's not more. What was there is that you fire up Excel and then you download a whole bunch of, Power Pivot and all sort of Power Query, Power Pivot, Power Maps and all sort of stuff, right? And then you build your Power BI spreadsheet and then you upload that spreadsheet into the cloud and you host it in the SharePoint. So, and you can build a Power BI dashboards in the SharePoint for the enterprise, yada, yada, yada. That's been around for quite some time. It's been called Power BI for Office 365. What's coming out, though, is Power BI that doesn't require Excel, doesn't require SharePoint. So it works on the server. So there will be designer surface, there will be tools to enable you to create all those wonderful Power Queries and Power Maps and what's not. And Power the Power BI for Office 365 customers will be migrated. There will be a clear migration path for those people to migrate their investment into Power BI into the new onto the new platform.
And there's also mobile apps on iOS and Android
correct.
that make it easy to consume this wherever you are. Where it gets interesting to me, specific to CRM, I think it'll get more interesting the more it gets baked in, if you will. It's still
Agreed.
kind of a separated thing, and it takes a fair amount of work to set up a Power BI dashboard and expose it through CRM. It's not difficult. It's something that is definitely doable. But where I see it going in my crystal ball, from my guess, is that I would expect to see it get more and more baked in. Because I would love to see some of the charting features, some of where we're seeing export to Excel go. I could definitely see that make the Power BI more seamless. Because you look at SSRS reports in CRM, you don't think, I'm using SSRS now. You think, I'm in CRM, right. I'm going to run a report. It's that kind of thing that I see a lot of potential there for that. So that's my prediction. What do you guys see in your crystal balls, or what would you like to see in the future? How is Power BI really going to impact CRM users?
One of the things I'm hoping to see is that their investment in, especially with 365, with the Office groups and that kind of collaboration, in combination with Power BI, gives us through CRM an ability to not only visualize that data but collaborate on it. I think that is a really huge next step that with CRM could pay off huge. Because just giving people data, if you don't know what the data is, or understand more real time how it's impacting you, it's pretty pictures, but doesn't have a lot of impact. But being able to not only serve that information up, but then discuss it through CRM, I think would be huge. And being able to do that on multiple platforms, whether you're on a mobile device or at your desk, I think would be amazing.
Yeah, I think I see a lot of parallels between what Excel did back in the day and what Power BI is doing now, where Excel took something that was a very expensive prospect, something that mainly accountants did, and brought it down to where basically everybody, a lot of people use Excel every day and do things that before that would have been very difficult or taken a lot more work to do. And this is the same thing. This is giving closer and closer to actual end users very powerful analytics stuff that 2-3 years ago required these very complex, hard to use, unaccessible, expensive tools. So it's really has potential to make waves there. I was also curious, and I don't know anything about this, but just reading about the latest acquisition. What is
Field One?
Field One. In kind of the small print of that release, it mentions this Cortana analytics that Field One uses. It just shows all the stuff being there. But yeah, to your point, I can definitely see. We've got the export to dynamic pivot table. Why not have it be export to Power Pivot?
Right, and the biggest difference there is, I think, with most customers, and you talk about visualizations, and you talk about dashboarding, and you talk about all these fancy charts and graphs. One of the first things that I have seen, they think is, that's how managers are going to consume information. And what Power BI is going to allow the Dynamics user to do is, at a business analyst level, give you a lot more tools in your toolbox to be able to do a lot of cool things in terms of data that you can then bubble up to other layers of your organization, or even peers within your organization. It's going to make data across the board easier to consume and more informative, I think.
Right. One thing I would love to see, and I think I mentioned this during our prize fight episode 3, is I would love to see the ability to leverage some contextual or in context of a record feature to be able to set up a Power BI dashboard on a specific record in context of that record. Something like pre-filtering in an SSRS report or the inline charts where you can show them in context of something. I would love to be able to do that, and that's where I see Power BI as an overall analytical tool really good, or somebody wanting to dig in, or an executive dashboard. It's fantastic for showing the overall, but in context, or just my records or something like that. I think that would be, that's my wish. If we had that, I could replace a lot of SSRS reports, a lot of inline charts, a lot of account level, kind of at a glance type account level dashboards with it, where right now I still see that as hard to do.
Agreed.
Joining us now is James Bowen. James is one of our colleagues at Hitachi Solutions. He also has a lot of other experience before his time at Hitachi working with other internet marketing. He is a certified internet marketer. Is that right, James?
That is correct.
And just the rest of us are certifiable. So what James brings to the conversation, we referred to Dynamics marketing, and we've all worked with Dynamics marketing, and I believe George even trained people on Dynamics marketing. James, what we wanted to get into is kind of where is MDM going? Because there's so much going on in our market now with changes to CRM every 6 months, a new release with Parature, MDM. And now I needed to learn about field service, apparently. With that in mind, I like to learn from others who are more zeroed into certain things than I am. So I guess, to start things off, if you listen to last week's episode, I said marketing automation has been a little bit harder for me to get excited about. I'm getting more excited about it, but one of the things is my knee-jerk reaction initially was, that's just how you spam people. How would you react to someone like me saying that? Why do I want to spam people with CRM?
I think marketing automation is a little bit more than just email marketing. When you look at a marketing automation solution or platform, it's everything from, yes, it has email marketing, but it's your landing pages and your forms. It's the budgeting piece. It's your content management. It's the full marketing solution itself, but it's also the integration too back into CRM. So it's that what we like to call marketing and sales alignment.
And also one thing that really opened my eyes after the Dynamics marketing acquisition is all the stuff that it does, even the things on the advertising market, management and things like that, or the digital asset management. That's all stuff that a lot of our customers were doing. We just didn't know about it. It definitely is a value to our clients. We have a lot of people who do email blasts and campaigns and have events and things like that, but there's a whole other level there that goes on a higher level around the budget management. In some ways, that stuff to me has been more interesting, just because it's something that we weren't even in the conversation for, and now we are.
That's right. Yeah, and when you look at it in that regard, there's very much a delivery side and a creation side to marketing automation, but then there's also the resource management, resource planning side that I think Dynamics Marketing does a very, very good job of filling that gap, and there's a lot of use cases out there.
And George, you were mentioning something about that, kind of the split personality of Dynamics Marketing.
Look, when I started to learn the product, and then we actually was I did the very first delivery worldwide on MDM training. Now that was partner training.
Oh, okay.
Partner MCS training. So actually, you guys now have people from Marketing Pilot working for Hitachi, I believe.
Absolutely. If you go to the Dynamics Marketing, to the Dynamics Learning Portal, you'll see people like Dorian and people like that. They're
correct. Yeah, they're the ones who created the curriculum. They're the ones who sort of introduced it, and they possess like enormous knowledge of the product. So that was very interesting to learn from them. But the one thing I couldn't put out of my head is the impression that Marketing Pilot, and that's what it used to be called before it became Microsoft Dynamics Marketing, it was like there were two products just slapped together. They didn't gel well. It's like there was this whole agency ops side of things, budgeting, digital resource management, licensing rights management, all sort of stuff. Very, very well executed, quite polished. And then, on the other hand, there was this email marketing side, which at some point, long time ago, I have to say, but at some point it looked like someone slapped it together in the basement. Right, I couldn't get rid of this feeling that the quality, you had this ridiculous notion of extensibility where you would get something like 4 dates fields. If you want a 5th date field, you're out of luck. You know, you can create custom fields, but you get like a certain number of certain types. Like you get 5 text fields and 4 date fields and 2 Boolean fields or something like that. I don't remember the numbers, but to me as a developer, it went against, everything I stand for, against the extensibility. It's like, what is this? So I couldn't. So what's your take on that, James? I mean, I still believe that there were 2 products. I think there were 2 originally. There were 2 separate products that at some point were brought together, or one bought another, or what's not.
Yeah, I would agree with that 100%. I think that the MRM piece is 100%. It's built out and it's a solid product. Where I think the gap is in the delivery side, of the marketing, the true marketing automation execution piece, which I think Microsoft's making great strides to, invest there and develop and get that up to speed to compete in the market. I think you're right. It was a little ancient, the email marketing piece, but I think they've again invested and made some good enhancements to make it a little bit easier to use. And I think where the product's going, I think it's only going to get better with time.
Of course, anything is better than the out-of-the-box email editor in CRM.
For sure. For sure. 100%.
So I guess what do you see, because you've worked for Sales Fusion, you've worked with Click Dimensions and things like that, where do you see from an overall market standpoint, where is Dynamics marketing the strongest, and where do the third parties and the competitors to it have the advantage still?
So I think we've kind of harped on the resource management, IMM piece. I think it's very, very solid in that market. The planning, the budgeting, even the event management. Where I would say the third party solutions come in, like a Click Dimensions, a Sales Fusion, the true marketing automation, email marketing, the landing page and forms, that true integration back to CRM. I think that's where those third parties can really help you, and the ease of use. So the developing of your landing page and form templates, the true automation from CRM to your marketing automation system. I think those third party, being Sales Fusion and Click Dimensions, can really set it apart from Microsoft Dynamics Marketing on the marketing automation front. Now that being said, we just discussed, I think that in due time that Microsoft Dynamics Marketing is going to make it available, and there will be a choice that a company could make on which solution would be the best fit.
Yeah, so it's kind of like every release. I know SMS is coming. They've improved the landing pages. They're continually improving the email editor and things like that. But also, they're also touching some of the MRM side of things too. So we'll come to a point where these differences become less and less. Specific question for you, and this is something in all the rapid releases I haven't found, but probably a year, maybe a little bit more ago, in testing it out, I found that the integration back to CRM, when I executed, say, a campaign activity, it would create tasks in CRM, but they weren't really clearly set regarding to who they were, so they kind of created orphan activities that didn't do you a lot of good. Has that improved any?
I would say it's still the same. I think that piece of the integration, again, talking to third party to Microsoft Dynamics Marketing, I think that the integrations are better set with some of the third party offerings out there now. What I would consider a true integration is not currently there with Microsoft Dynamics Marketing, in my opinion.
So one thing I find, and this is a little bit odd since we're talking about Microsoft, is if you want to run a campaign and have a rich campaign and run it straight from CRM, you're better off going with the Click Dimensions right now. Just because from CRM I can go to a contact or go to a company and can see from there easily what messages have been sent, who opened them, things like that. Whereas if you want marketing people to have their own system that is, getting more and more fully featured, you don't really want them going to CRM, then Dynamics Marketing is actually pretty good for that. It seems odd to say that if you want a more inside CRM solution, use the third party.
That's 100% correct.
Tell me, James, one of my personal favorite bits is lead scoring in MDM, because I haven't seen systems, very few systems as capable as MDM is in this regard. To me, the ability to pre-program your interaction with your leads or define your own way you want to score the leads or qualify them, that opens up the whole lot of opportunities for marketing people to automate their processes. To me, like blasting email, well, there are thousands, if not thousands, like dozens of programs that do it better than MDM. But the lead scoring and automation of that, to me, always been quite a nice piece, and it's just getting better. So can you tell from your perspective how does it work? How do you see it working for marketing people?
Sure. Yeah, and I think that's one of the more fully baked pieces of the Dynamics Marketing platform. The behavioral scoring traits that you can do inside of Microsoft Dynamics Marketing are very, very robust. Again, when comparing that to the third-party solutions out there, like a Click Dimensions, for example, the lead scoring is very, very flat. And comparing, bunches of categories or, lots of categories inside of Microsoft Dynamics Marketing to that about, 5 to 7 behavioral scoring traits you can do in Click Dimensions. It's going to set the marketers up for success a lot better within Microsoft Dynamics Marketing rather than a third-party tool like Click Dimensions.
All right, well, James, I know you got to run, but really appreciate you joining us. Just talking to you like this enlightens me and gets me more excited about this. And you're right, it's so much more than email blasts. As George mentioned last week, that's not an exciting area, but it still is amazingly effective for certain things. But this other stuff and just seeing the holistic overall view and managing your resources and things like that, every release gets me more excited about Dynamics Marketing.
James, before you go, if you had to describe the ideal company that MDM would be the best fit for, how would you describe it right now, given the product capabilities right now as of today?
I would say anywhere from mid-market to enterprise type company with very heavy lifting marketing initiatives going on today and heavy needs, planning, advertising, budgeting, lots of moving parts in a marketing department. I would say over 10 users in a system that are going to be working inside of a system.
To me, always been like one marketing user per 10, 15 CRM users. Is that what you're understanding? So we're talking about 10 marketing users, or we're talking about probably over 100 CRM users?
Well, 10 marketing users. That's correct.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
All right,
yep, that's kind of, my understanding as well, and as well as agencies, marketing agencies.
Correct.
Who do work for third-party customers.
So if you want to keep in touch with James or follow somebody that is a really good source about the future and the current state of marketing automation, follow James on Twitter. James, I believe it's James __ Bowen, Bowen.
That's correct. Yeah, or at MSDYNMKT that's a Twitter handle as well.
Hold on. Before we do the development minute, I wanted to open up a new segment, and we'll see if it's gel. During the CRM UG conference, was it CRM UG? Yes. Last year CRM UG conference in St. Louis, we had a talk, a session where we discussed and demonstrated our favorite tools and tools we develop with and do everyday tasks. So I thought we could open up a segment, just, a couple minutes, we talk about our favorite tools, the tools that you install, like you install Windows 10, fresh new machine. What are the first 5 tools? Forget about the Office Outlook, right? First 5 other tools that you install that make your life easier. They could be tiny tools, big tools, what's not. So I thought that.
So you talk about any applications on your PC at all, or specifically in the tool category?
Any application that makes your life easier. If it's Tetris from 1985, so be it.
Okay. I have a little bit different. I bet my philosophy on this is different. I know certain people. I read Paul Thurrott's stuff, and he's got his pack of stuff he installs every time he uses the computer. I have more of a install it when I need it, because I get so much crap built up on my computer that at least once a year, on not just my computer, but also my phone, tablets, whatever. I wipe them out and start clean. And I will install Office because I need to be able to do things like that. Probably install Visual Studio, but everything else I leave off until I need it. And then, as I need it, as I do that. But for example, I used to write SSRS reports all the time. I haven't written an SSRS report in probably a year. I don't currently have the CRM reporting tools on there just because I haven't been in any reporting jobs. So I like doing that because it forces me to really think through, do I really need that tool? Because I'll see something and say, wow, that's a cool tool, like certain SQL tools and things like that Scott Sewell told me about, and say, yeah, I got to get that. And it just, before long, you got your hard drive full and your machine is slow. And so that's my, kind of I force myself to justify it being there. And then as I need it, I will put it on there.
Interesting that you said when needed. I recently had to reinstall, basically. I had to refresh my Windows, and in its Windows 8 and its wisdom, wiped out completely my user account and uninstalled all the apps. So the Windows still there, but all the apps gone. So all the applications gone. So I decided to do an experiment, and for about a month now, I've been running without Adobe Reader or any other reader. I use built-in Windows Reader for PDFs.
Okay.
Sometimes it's very painful, but you know what? It's manageable. If I want to convert something, I use online converters. If I want to sign something, I managed to do it inside the PDF Reader, an app for Windows.
Well, I used to have like Snagit and stuff, but since Dropbox came out with the ability to do print screen, automatically store it in a folder, I've been using that. I know it doesn't do like the full screen copy, but I haven't had to do that for a while. So
yeah, but that's because the job functions. Because I do a lot of training materials, and Snagit and Camtasia, it's like must-have tools.
I wrote an entire book without Snagit, with a lot of screenshots. And what I did is since Word, when I was writing the document, since I could do a screenshot right from Word, I used that, and I got used to it. I loved it.
Yeah,
I have to agree that what comes in Windows for the PDF viewer is it infuriates me every time it launches. So I have to agree with Adobe Reader, but I always install XRM Toolkit. Always.
Okay, XRM Toolkit.
But he has so many updates though that I'm finding that I naturally, when I have another reason to use it, I'm going to get the new one because there's always 3 new things or new updates.
With going online, we should check out, or people should check out the work that David Yag been doing, and I advised him on domain name, so I'll take credit for that. XRM.tools. And the idea is for CRM Online to build tools online. All you need to do is to grant permission for this XRM.tools to use your CRM.
Oh yeah, the sitemap editor is really cool. I don't think it's quite as fully featured as as like
no, not yet.
But
not yet.
But for your basic create, move, whatever.
Correct.
Kind of things.
And it's all online, and there's a business rules stuff is coming in, and it's cool. But the one thing I wanted to mention, it's my top 3 probably, my top 3 tools. When I had that Microsoft bought Wunderlist, I never used it, so I went out and checked out, it's another list, and you make tasks, and you do these, and they expire, and you can do icons, and you can do due dates, and it becomes complicated, and people stop using it. The one tool I've been using like crazy for the past year or so, it's called Workflowy. It's like a workflow with a y.com. So workflowy.com. It's a simple hierarchical task creation tool. It has a limited number of features, but over the year, I've come to love it, and I use it for everything, for notes taking, for task management, for sharing tasks, because I can share tasks with other people. I can share nodes in a tree with other people. And I did share something with you, Joel. You just never got around to reading it.
I forget my password every time.
But this is the tool that I find amusingly simple, and that's why I use it day in, day out. It's my to-do list, it's my reminders, it's my note-taking, it's everything.
I've got a similar application I use called Notepad that I install on every Windows machine I have.
Notepad falls into my category of my favorite presentation tool is a Notepad. So
see, I liked, and I did click on the link that you sent, George. I really like what it does, but I get conflicted having multiple note apps. So I just find...
No, it's not a note-taking app. Don't get me wrong. It's
It's like an outline app.
Right now, if I remember that I have to do something, right? Not a note, but I say, hey, I need to upload the recording of this episode to Joel, and let's say, not to forget it, I would go there, I would go to the node, which is my today to-do list, and just navigate there and plonk it in there, mark it with @Joel, so I can search by name or hashtag it or whatever, make it searchable. Really, I can cross out things, I can collapse, I can share. This is where, like, for example, collaborative planning goes into, I do my planning for CRM tip of the day in there. So I have like categories like tips, upcoming tips. I've got some ideas about UI. I've got some technical stuff I need to do on the back end and things like that. So it's all categorized. It's more like a extended to-do list.
Yeah.
But without dates, it's very simple to clone things, and it's so simple it works. So yeah. I don't know. It's one of my favorite tools.
Well, my rule is it doesn't matter what tool you use if you use the tool in some ways, because if you use Evernote or OneNote or Workflowy or even Dropbox has some features like that now, or Office Online, wherever you check regularly, and I think I've read a very good book I just finished this week called Creativity Inc. that basically says the tool is not the thing. The tool you use isn't the most important thing. It's how you use it. It's the people using it. That type of thing. It's the same thing could apply to CRM. CRM can be good or bad. It's not. It's kind of agnostic in that way. It's how you use it, and if you use it, and if you adopt it. So, but no, I've used that too. I've found it doesn't. I haven't figured out how to fit it in my flow. So, I've kind of had tool burnout. But I think that's great. I think here's a suggestion. I would like to. I think it would be interesting, and don't have time on this episode because we're already over time. But it would be interesting to have a comparison of how we do things like manage emails. Because I bet we have 3 different systems that work for us, but like I'm the delete everything guy, and I bet George is the file everything and keep it for 10 years guy.
Yeah.
You knew? How did you know?
Because you mocked my tip of the day where I showed I was tracking and deleting all the emails I got from George Dubinsky.
You remember that? Okay.
Yes. And now it's time for George Dubinsky's Developer's Minute.
Into the Android Activity Tracker sample. It's a CRM sample on the GitHub, and I pulled out the terms and conditions. And the one thing that occurred to me that instead of I can read MIT license, right? So we all know that, but there is one part which is all in caps. So I assume it's very important, so I'm going to read that part. But because it's all in caps, you're supposed to shout. So without further ado, so the above copyright notice and this permission notice shall be included in all copies of substantial portions of the software. This software is provided as is, without warranty of any kind, express or implied, including but not limited to the warranties of merchantability, fitness for a particular purpose, and non-infringement. In no event shall the authors or copyright holders be liable for any claims, damages, or other liability, whether in action of contract, tort, or otherwise, arising from, out of, or in connection with the software or the use or other dealings in this software.
This has been George Dubinsky's Developers Minute. Do you think we should continue to have George Dubinsky's Developers Minute? If so, tweet yes to CRM Audio. If you don't think we should continue George Dubinsky's Developers Minute, please vote no by tweeting no to CRM Audio. Join us next time. Maybe.
We talked about the upcoming release of Windows 10. We talked about Power BI going public today. We talked about the new phone app being out and the sad demise of what looks like the sad demise of Windows Phone. We had a really good conversation about Microsoft marketing with James Bowen. And we talked a little bit about our favorite tools, as well as the Developers Minute. So an action-packed episode, to be sure.
Great. Well, hit the road, Shawn. Get on vacation. See the cradle of democracy.
You betcha. And I'll see you guys when I get back.
All right. Join us next time. This has been CRM Audio, Microsoft Dynamics CRM podcast. You can hear previous episodes on our website, crm.audio. Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, follow us on Twitter at CRM Audio, or leave us a comment on our Facebook page, facebook.com/CRM podcast. If you have any topic suggestions or questions that you would like for us to answer on a future episode, please drop us an email at voice@crm.audio. Special thanks to Dale Simmons for our theme music. Go check out his website, dalesimmons.com. Please join us next time on CRM Audio.